Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Mr. Payne bringing you non-proportional linear relationships, Unit 4, Lesson 3. We're going to start with Lesson 3 for Unit 4 because the first two lessons don't really pertain to what is the whole unit's all about. So I want to just cut out that stuff and go right into the good stuff. So exercise number 1. Consider the linear function f of x shown below. A. Evaluate f of negative 2 and f of 1. What two coordinate points do these functions respond to? So f of negative 2. We're going to go over to negative 2. We're going to see where the line hits it. It's at negative 1. So f of negative 2 is the point is negative 2, negative 1. Now, if we took a look at f of 1, we went over on f of 1, and then we went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that coordinate point is 1, 5. Now it says calculate the average rate of change from x equals negative 2 and x equals 1. This is also known as what quantity for this line? Well, we're rate of change, and now we're going to be discussing about the word slope. So they're asking you to find the steepness of this line. We're going to do that by using the same formula we learned with the rate of change. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I want you to start off by right away doing the first thing I taught you during the rate of change. That's labeling my points x1, y1, x2, y2. y2 is 5, y1 is negative 1, x2 is negative 2, let's back that up. x2 is not negative 2, x2 is 1 minus a negative 2. 5 minus a negative 1 plus and a plus is going to give me 6. Over 1 plus 2 is going to give me 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the slope of this line is 2. Now let's look down to D. Recall the famous formula you learned in 8th grade and use it here to create an equation and check it using the points from the graph. If you can remember correctly, the famous formula you should have learned in 8th grade is y equals mx plus b. The m equals my slope, which you just found out was 2, and the b equals my y-intercept. Well, how do you find your y-intercept? You look at the y-axis and you go 1, 2, 3. My function crosses the y-intercept at 3, so therefore my y-intercept is 3. Now, based on that information, I can go ahead and fill in my equation. Y equals m, which is 2, x is always there, plus 3. What is always proportional on a linear function is the change in y to the change in x, also known as the line's slope. This gives rise to what is known as the slope-intercept form of a line. So the slope-intercept form is considered f of x, which equals y equals mx plus b. So your y equals mx plus b is your slope-intercept form. Remembering that it could be f of x, g of x, h of x, any of those equal the same thing as y. Your m is your average rate of change, which also means your slope. These words are all interchangeable. Your b equals your y-intercept. So now we're given number 2. It says create a limited table of the values to help graph the function. Y 1/2 x plus 1. So the very first thing we need to do is just draw a limited table, x and y. You all know how to type this into your calculator and get your answers. I'm going to show you how to do it. I created a limited table right there for you. And I'm going to put dots and I'm going to graph this point. So 0, 1. 2, 2. 4, 3. A couple things that you have to remember is that you should always have arrows on your lines. Oop, let's back up there. Should always have arrows on your lines. And the last thing you should always do is label your line. So g of x equals 1/2 x plus 1. So there's my table and there's my graph. Illustrate the slope of the function graphically. Well, I just did that for you. And one of the things I want to point out is that my b is 1, so therefore this line, my function, crossed the y-axis at 1. And my slope is up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. So therefore I know that's what it means. And I'm going to show you that in yellow real quick. So my slope goes up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. That's what B says. Illustrate the slope of the function graphically. So I wanted to just show you what that slope looked like. Exercise number 3. Use information about the slope and y-intercept to graph y equals -3/5 x plus 1 on the grid. Pick 2 points off the graph and calculate the average rate of change and verify that it is equal to the slope. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at this. I have y equals -3/5 x plus 1. My m equals -3/5, and my b equals 1. So that means I'm going to begin at 1 on the y-intercept, and then I'm going to go down 3, right 5. Down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what this example is showing you is that I'm out of room. I can't go down 3 over 5 anymore. I go off the screen. So what I'm going to do is the opposite. I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to go ahead and put a dot there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I can go ahead and graph my line just like I did before. And make sure it goes through all your points. Mr. Payne's off a little bit, not much. Has arrows. Your line goes all the way through your graph. That's how you write a good graph or draw a good graph. And now just make sure that you label your line. Y equals -3/5 x plus 1. And the only other thing that it asks you to show is to pick 2 points off the grid and go ahead and do the slope formula to make sure. So the points that I'm going to pick are 0, 4, and 5, 1. These 2 points fall on this linear function. Go ahead and do your formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. One of the most important parts is label your points. So x1, y1, x2, y2. 1 minus 4 over 5 minus 0. 1 minus 4 is -3 over 5. Notice my slopes match, so I must have did something correct. That's the end of lesson 3. Make sure you write up a WSQ. And don't forget some good note-taking strategies. We should be hitting pause. We should be making notes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. This is Mr. Payne signing out. We'll talk to you later.